Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, Mead here. I've had some requests to do some explanation on my Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon Performage deck, because I guess some people don't really know how it works. So, I'm gonna make a little video here and show you some of the combos and some of the things we can do. Alright, so the combos that you want to see the most in the deck, probably the best combo in the deck, is, you start off with these two cards, and, how far you can extend this combo really depends on, of course, what other cards are in your hand, but, just starting with these two. So, place Luster Pendulum Draco Slayer in the Pendulum Zone, and then your Plush Fire goes in your other Pendulum Zone. You can activate your your Pendulum Draco Slayer, destroys Plush Fire. Plush Fire's effect will activate, which will let you get a Plush Fire to your hand, or Draco Slayer lets you get the Plush Fire to your hand. Plush Fire lets you get a Performage to the field. I usually go with Damage Juggler because after an Xyz play, it can let you search more. So, Plush Fire's in my hand. I got my Damage Juggler here. I can normal summon if I had nothing else. I had absolutely nothing else. I can overlay and get my King of the Feral Imps, which is honestly one of the best Xyz monsters for this deck. Detach my Damage Juggler for King of the Feral Imps effect. One in my deck. I have a scale of 5 over there, so I'll grab Performable Part Naga, which is a scale of 3. Now I can banish that Damage Juggler, grab any Performage I want to, just for the sake of extending the combo. I'm going to grab my Trick Clown. So now I can Pendulum Summon. If I choose to, I could overlay here, go into something like a Trapeze Magician, and right there, if I use Trapeze Magician's effect on the Feral Imp, assuming that I was attacking directly, that would be 23, 46, 50, 71. It's like almost game right there. As you can see, we have the same combo as before, except now we've upped to 1 copy of Wavering Eyes in our hands. Each of these you have 3 copies of in the deck, so not unlikely to see them come up together. Alright, so again, we're going to set our Pendulum Zones. We're going to use our Draco Slayer effect to destroy. Gets our Juggler, gets our other Plush Fire. I'm going to activate this one over here. Use that Wavering Eyes. So Wavering Eyes will destroy both of these. And now I'm going to get the Plush Fire's effect and the Wavering Eyes effect. Alright, so I searched out another copy of Luster Pendulum the Draco Slayer with the Wavering Eyes, and then I searched out the Trick Clown with the Plush Fire effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and overlay these two. And what you're going to choose to go for right here is, of course, going to depend on what you have. But if you're just going for combo pieces, once again, I'm going to go into my King of the Feral Imps. I'll use King of the Feral Imps effect. I'm going to detach that Damage Juggler. I'm going to go ahead and grab Performable Part Naga. This is because in a few minutes here I'm going to want to set my pendulum scales. with these two monsters. Not quite yet. I'm going to banish that damage juggler. I'll grab my mirror conductor. So I'm going to activate my Draco Slayer, activate my mirror conductor, and use my Draco Slayer's effect. I can do this because I haven't already done this once with this one this turn. So that'll pop that. I can go grab another mirror conductor. This is off of 3 cards, remember. Now I'm going to set my other pendulum scale with Partanaga. I've got them set at 5 and 3, and I can pendulum summon. And it's really up to you. You have a couple options here. I'll probably hold this in my hand actually, because it's easier with that. Doesn't really matter though. From here, I'm going to go ahead and synchro summon. I can now use this effect to special summon from my deck a Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. This can, of course, overlay for my Majester. Majester's effect is activated upon the time that he's summoned. So now he's going to make sure that I get another Pendulum monster to my hand at the end phase of the turn. I still have the ability to destroy a Pendulum monster that I control and bounce a card on the field back to the owner's deck. So that'll clear off the opponent's side. So if I choose to do that with my Plush Fire, that destroys it as a monster, and I can go into any other Performage that I would want. Just special summon it right out. Another really fun play is you can do something like, these monsters aren't number monsters, so I really enjoy Utopic Future F-Zero. And you can do something really nasty where if your opponent has some really good monsters on their side of the field, and that's it, like 2 boss monsters, you've already activated this effect, which is going to let you get your Pendulum monster during the end phase, so you don't really care anymore. This is, you probably wouldn't have this during your next turn, so this is a good 2 cards to overlay. At this point, of course, all these fall into the graveyard, and you can use, give up 1,000, bring that up back if you want. But by overlaying those 2, you go into Utopic Future. Then you can use the Trapeze Magician's effect to give this 2 attacks. This attacking 2 of your opponent's monsters, you're stealing 2 of their best monsters, bringing them over to your side. You're not taking any damage, and that's probably going to be game. It's like 2 Change of Hearts in the battle phase. So I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. Alright, so the next card I want to talk about is, well, either Instant Fusion or Foolish Burial. And if you're using Instant Fusion, it's going to go along with Norden or Blackwing Zephyros the Elite if it's Foolish Burial. Or if it's Foolish Burial, it can also be a Heroic Challenger. Either way, this is all essentially just the same combo pieces. It's just about extending your combo one step further. You have all the pendulums on the field and stuff with Zephyros the Elite. You activate a pendulum, special summon Zephyros. That's a level 4 to automatically go into Xyz plays. If you take 1,000 damage, or if you take damage at all, actually, you can bring back the Heroic Challenger 1,000 Blades. That, of course, is going to happen all the time if you combo it with the Trick Clown. You can pay 1,000 life points to bring back Norden, who can then bring back any of your monsters that have gone to the graveyard, even though you run a lot of Pendulum monsters, which will go to the extra deck because you will be Xyz summoning them. It's really nice to be able to get back, a Draco Slayer or a Plush Fire, and then being able to combo with it. This, you can still synchro summon into the Draco Slayer Xyz with that, or you can still overlay into any monster that you'd need to. So that's why I run Foolish Burial and Instant Fusion. Just really good at extending the combos. I wanted to talk for a minute about these cards, which these two magicians, the Creation and Destruction Magicians, as they were called in the OCG, or Zanjiki and Xingsheng Magicians, they call them the TCG, and Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Now, Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon I love, and I just think he's a lot of fun to run, and he's kind of a surprise to a lot of people. He does make the deck, kind of a little less consistent than it would be probably if it was just a traditional rank 4 spam deck, but it also gives me the ability to go into cards that you wouldn't see in the traditional rank 4 spam deck, like Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon or Odd-Eyes Rebellion Dragon, and then there's more coming out. There's also Rune Eyes that I was running previously, and I've chosen to take it out for the Vortex Dragon. The Rune Eyes is kind of temperamental because you can get multiple attacks out of it, but they have to be attacks on monsters. So if your opponent has a clear board, that's not going to help you nearly as much as the Vortex Dragon will, in terms of he gets to bounce a card when he's special summoned, and he gets negation by sending cards from your face up from your extra deck back to your deck, which is actually really nice too, because you can get effects back like these, which you're only running one of, and potentially being able to bring out this because you brought out this and you negated your opponent's plays. That's pretty fun. How do these work? Well, a bit inconsistently, not gonna lie. So this is just a pain in the butt card. I don't think it was well designed at all, but what can you do? Xingsheng Magician's effect states that if your opponent has more cards, or if you have more cards than your opponent, her pendulum scale becomes a 4. If you have these two on the field and her scale is a 4, that means you can't pendulum summon anything. Really, with the monsters that we run being pendulum scales of 5 and 3 primarily, that just shuts you down. You can't do anything with it. So that's part of the reason we're only running one of them, but it does give you the ability to potentially summon back Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon and do the combo plays. So we're going to say that our opponent has at least 2 cards on the field, and usually 3 is the kind of safe number that I look for, because you usually want to do a little bit of comboing on your field before you set this up. So 3 cards is kind of the number that you're hoping they have on their field. Alright, assuming that you can pendulum summon this back, this could have searched out this. You can use Wavering Eyes right now to search out this other magician, but unfortunately that's kind of the only way to do that. So it's either run multiples or only use it when it comes up, which I've chosen to do because that keeps it at a consistency that I like while still making the deck competitive. Anyway, so I'm going to put this on the board, and then you can use whatever shenanigans you like to have a couple of monsters. Now I'm going to take these 2 level 4 monsters, I'm going to overlay them, and in this deck I have Heartland Drago and Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon that are my primary targets for this, although technically the new Ascending Draco Slayer is also a target for this, but you'll have to use 2 Pendulum monsters in order to overlay for this, which is fine. It's just can't do it technically with the cards I'd selected. So I'm going to choose to do this with Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. I'll use Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon's effect just to be a pain in the butt, weaken my opponent's monsters, whatever. By using these combinations of effects, I can make Dark Rebellion's rank 7 That's using this one. And then this one gives me the ability to overlay them. If I overlay these two monsters, I can bring out Odd-Eyes Rebellion Dragon. Pretty easy. This will be the full proper way of summoning it, and it'll get its effect to, go after all the monsters on your opponent's side of the field that are now little ones, and then hit for potentially 9k. You can just overlay 2 Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragons if that's what you have. However, if you do that, the nuking effect won't activate. However, all the other effects will. So when it's destroyed, you can nuke these to put it over here and go and search, or if it's in the pendulum zone, or it's going to be face up on the Esther deck, you'll be able to potentially bring it back. Just wanting to note here with my polymerization choice. This is really just because I wanted to put up a video and I have not gotten my Odd-Eyes Fusion in the mail yet. Once I do get my Odd-Eyes Fusion, I will be taking polymerization out to include Odd-Eyes Fusion. So if you haven't figured it out by now, King of the Feral Imps is just an amazing combo piece in this deck, and so I just wanted to highlight the monsters and why. Gigabyte, if you control a spellcaster type monster, then you can special summon him from your hand. There are so many spellcaster type monsters that are in this deck that it's hard to have a time when you can't special summon him. And when you have that many opportunities to combo, it's good mojo, it's smart play to have him in there. The other 2 cards that I've chosen to use are the Performables, Lizdra and Partanaga. You notice there's not as many Performables as there were before. That number will go back up when we get the Pendulum Wizard out of the structure deck, but until then, I'm forced to use what I got. Both of these cards are searchable by King of the Feral Imps, and they give you the ability to complete your scales at 3 or 6, which will give you the ability to special summon pretty much any monster in the deck, with the exception of the Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon himself. Yes, right now it is more difficult to still bring out the Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon. However, once we get those new cards, those Pendulum Wizards, those do have a pendulum scale of 8 that does not change. It's a static 8. So then we'll be able to bring back Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon a little bit easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and deal myself an opening 6, and we're just gonna see what we can do here. I can, if I so choose to, I could overlay these into that F0 that I was talking about before. I could potentially overlay these two into that Majestic Paladin, or any other rank 4 Xyz that I think might help me in this situation. so that's an average first thing. You know? I mean, yeah, it had 2 weird right, so that's beautiful, but that's the kind of crazy shenanigans this deck does. And clearly, like, there's just opportunity after opportunity to seize summon. I mean, right there, that's probably going to be game, considering I still have a zone left to take your monster. I potentially could use my Zengxing Magician to, bump up these guys if I so chose. Although there's not really a point to making that play because you can't overload them. But you can see that this is, that's just another average hand. Alright, so just wanted to say thanks to everyone for watching the vid. Hope you enjoyed it. I will have a link to the full deck profile in the description. Give me a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Let me know what you think. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. And I hope this has been helpful. And we'll see you next time.